Does it mean that certain people must be prosecuted? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But what I want is a serious criminal investigation. So a lot going on this week as well with respect to the FBI. And I talked about this issue a little bit last week. There was a New York Times story, and I quoted specifically the story on Twitter. And here's the tweet I issued, or on X. I said, "What? WHUT. The new Assistant Director, FBI Director Cash, named to run the Washington field office, Stephen J. Jensen, was in charge of the Bureau's Domestic Terrorism Operations section on that day, and he played a key role in responding to the attack on the Capitol. Mr. Jensen was also responsible for establishing a system to monitor incidents of violence at school board meetings across the country as potential acts of domestic terrorism." So I put that release out, and it's been nothing but pushback from the FBI since. And I've gotten all sorts of indirect communications, etc. Oh, don't believe what you read in the New York Times. And the suggestion early on, I think fairly, was that they were disputing that the man was appointed at all. And now it's been confirmed he was appointed. And now the suggestion is that he's probably a good guy and he shouldn't be criticized. And my concern is, besides them trying to spin, is whether or not there should be a Washington field office, whether or not there should be the FBI, at least in its current form. Why is the FBI being treated like USAID? Why hasn't there been prosecutions or any news of any serious investigation into the lawfare against President Trump? Where's the justice? Where's the accountability? And our friend Dan Bongino has been issuing a series of tweets saying, "Oh, well, just because I can't tell, you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening." Well, that's not my experience. It might be true with respect to national security investigations or counterintelligence investigations, but an investigation into lawfare against Trump, all going on in secret, and we don't know about it, so that means, that we shouldn't take anything from that? That's not the way it works. An investigation like that, we'd know about it, and frankly, we should know about it if it's happening. So I really don't know what's happening at the Justice Department and the FBI with respect to the pushback on lawfare. And I want some justice, and I want it in a timely way. And I think the challenge that Cash has and the challenge that Pam Bondi have is that institutionally they may be controlling the Justice Department, but even though there have been firings and removals, it's still largely there's still largely agencies that are thoroughly corrupted or controlled by the left. And I don't think the FBI should be treated any differently than the USAID. And I would take the Marco Rubio approach or the DOJ approach to the FBI that they did with the USAID. Figure out what its core duties and responsibilities are, ensure that they're being done, not even necessarily by the FBI, and shut the rest of it down. Is that an extreme position? I don't think it is, given the dangerous activities of the FBI in recent years. I mean, Mr. Jensen, he was running these January 6th investigations that were the epitome of government abuse. And he also facilitated the targeting of parents by the Justice Department and the FBI for daring to communicate with school boards about the education of their children. So yeah, it's upsetting and concerning he was hired, but the bigger issue is, what are they doing to investigate even January 6 abuses or the lawfare abuses targeting Trump? Trump was the victim of a criminal conspiracy, in my view. That's what the evidence suggests to me. And that criminal conspiracy to deprive him of his civil rights under color of law should be the subject of a serious and a public criminal investigation. And can the Justice Department do that? Because it means investigating the Justice Department. Can the FBI do that? Because it means investigating the FBI? Maybe, but I don't think so. And that's why if I were President Trump, I'd do the following. Actually, I told Steve Bannon what I'd do and what I recommend President Trump would do. Let's go to clip 4.
What's your recommendations? What would you specifically like to see?
Well, the president's got to be the president. And Pam Bondi isn't going to do it. Kash Patel isn't going to remake the Justice Department or the FBI. They're going to be running it. And it's not a criticism of them. This is where the president should step in and say, this is what the FBI needs to look like, or this is how it needs to be changed. It can't be around anymore to do to others what they did to me. And I tell you, if after 4 years, nothing's been done other than they've reoriented the FBI or DOJ to focus on arresting MS-13, then whoever comes in next time, Republican or Democrat, Trump's going to be investigated again. People around Trump are going to be subject to criminal investigation again.
100%.
And so what President Trump needs to do is to hire a special counsel, run it out of the White House. Kash, the FBI, they can't investigate themselves. DOJ can't investigate themselves. Let's stop pretending that these agencies are going to investigate their friends and colleagues. It's not going to happen. That's why you need outsiders. And Kash Patel should be told, to follow Marco Rubio's lead on USAID. Shut it down.
Shut it down. Or at least raise the prospect of shutting it down. I like the MS-13 thing. Good. I want them to arrest all the MS-13 guys. But another serious threat to the Republic has been the lawfare. So we need similar interest by leadership of the Justice Department and the FBI, absent a special counsel, to investigate that and make that a big issue. It's simple. And so when I get the pushback that I've gotten and the Judicial Watch has gotten for just raising these basic issues, it's frustrating because I'm not asking them to do anything they didn't promise to do. I have no doubt President Trump wants to get this done. And, my guess is Kash Bondi and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, I'm conflating the two people, want to get it done generally. But there's always going to be kind of the long way and the winding way versus the direct, efficient, effective way. And I encourage them to take the direct, efficient, effective way, get the lawyers involved, get the prosecutors involved, get some honest FBI agents involved. And if I were President Trump, I don't know if I could trust those agencies to investigate themselves. And I would have outside forces do it, outside agencies do it, and outside prosecutor do it, working out of the White House. And, in the meantime, we're going to continue our litigation, trying to get the records about the lawfare targeting Trump, try to get the records about the corruption of the Biden regime and how that was an impetus to target Trump, to distract from that corruption. I've talked about repeatedly, for instance, our really simple litigation in Fulton County, Georgia, that blew up Fani Willis's lies about collusion with the Pelosi January 6th regime. We asked for records about her communications with the January 6th committee, and they said they didn't have any. And we pushed and pushed and pushed. Long story short, they confessed to having the records. And now the judge is looking at the records directly to see if we can get the records they say they didn't have to begin with, and now they're saying we can't have anyway. All of that came about because of Judicial Watch, not the Justice Department, not the FBI, not Congress. So I suspect that we're going to continue to extract information from these agencies through our FOIA lawsuits that will hopefully increase pressure on these agencies and the administration for prosecutions. Because in the end, I think that's the only sufficient check and consequence that's going to really curtail and prevent this from happening again. Does it mean that certain people must be prosecuted? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But what I want is a serious criminal investigation and prosecutorial decisions being made fearlessly as opposed to politically, which is the way it typically works in your typical Republican administration. And if there's one thing we know, this isn't the typical Republican administration, and I'm hoping that continues to be the case in the sense of law and order. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.